evening. This is the 40-page lawsuit. It was filed in Virginia State Court late this afternoon. Twitter, as you said, in the hot seat as Congressman Nunes alleges the social media giant did not remove defamatory and malicious tweets. Nunes says that those tweets are from real people and bogus accounts, and the tweets carry Nunes and his family's name. I want to read some of that suit to you that was filed. It says, quote, Twitter knew the defamation was and is happening. Twitter let it happen because Twitter had and has a political agenda and motive. Twitter allowed and allows its platform to serve as a portal of defamation in order to undermine public confidence in plaintiff and to benefit his opponents and opponents of the Republican Party. Now, Nunes goes on to allege that these tweets were an effort to distract him from doing his job with the investigation of potential corruption in the 2016 presidential election.
On this episode of Just Informed Talk, you guys are not going to believe the latest news set of posts, what's been going on with the censorship around the tragedy in New Zealand, and much more that Q's going to give us an in-depth insight into as they go after Q through big tech and social media by trying to destroy free speech. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. I always begin by saying thank you to everyone who's hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, please come here to the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications, and make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you guys like the content you guys are seeing here on this channel. So today we're getting into some pretty terrifying times, and not that the battle hasn't been going furiously for the last months, almost over a year, or years I should say now, but it's coming to a point where they're starting to exert unreasonable control over what is and is not allowed to be said on the platforms that we're going to be looking at. And what you guys saw at the beginning was Devin Nunes suing Twitter, among others, for $250 million. And that comes directly after Q told us that Jack was going to be expecting a strike coming fast. So that's where we're going to start. But where we left off was Q Post 3110. We're picking up at Q Post 3111. I always tell you guys to come back here to the landing page, watch these last few videos if you want to get all the latest Q posts and all that information. If you're scratching your head going, what is QAnon? I'm going to encourage you guys to come here and watch this video about QAnon and the Great Awakening. That'll give you all the information that you need. Now, or at least to get started. So before, I guess we'll just get into the post and we'll start there and then we'll talk about a few things. So first of all, here is the story. Devin Nunes has decided to sue Twitter and some users because, as you heard in the intro to this, that there is an anti-conservative shadow banning that has been going on for quite some time, and now there's finally a formal piece of complaint, or a formal complaint filed, and they're going to take this to court, it seems. The article goes on to say, the lawsuit alleged defamation, conspiracy, and negligence, and sought not only damages but also an injunction compelling Twitter to turn over the identities behind numerous accounts he said harassed and defamed him. The lawsuit is separate from Nunes' work on the House Intelligence Committee, where he is now the ranking member. Twitter is a machine, quote-unquote, Nunes' personal attorney Stephen Biss told Fox News, quote, it is a modern-day Tammany Hall. Congressman Nunes intends to hold Twitter fully accountable for its abusive behavior and misconduct, and I could not agree more. As a matter of fact, since we're on the subject, I had my account locked by the good folks at Twitter. Now, what was their reasoning? Well, apparently I had posted a video that they didn't like, and they decided to lock my account, and they basically said unless I delete the tweet, then they would keep my account locked. And it is Tammany Hall. This is literally Boss Tweed, aka Jack Dorsey, telling us what we can and can't say. And, they make their little pitch. They go on Joe Rogan and talk about all these ridiculous things, none of which, in my opinion, warrants completely removing a person's voice. But that aside, look at what they're doing. And finally, action is being taken. Devin Nunes' lawsuit is going to be one of many to come, I believe. And I think that we're moving toward removing protections from big tech as far as their Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act protections where they would and should be held liable if they're going to be publishers. If they're not going to be an objective free speech platform, if they're going to choose to silence voices, that is not American. These companies are anti-American. I'm going to repeat that. These companies are anti-American. And it gets worse. But we'll keep going. Oh, I'm sorry. It bothers me. But it says, you were warned at Jack. The strike will be fast. Let's keep playing Q. So Q said this yesterday and this story broke today. You think it's a coincidence? And now they're coming after Q with all of this what happened, this tragedy that happened in New Zealand. Now they're coming after Q because they're going after 8chan. They're going after everyone. Do you know why? Because some of the highest ranking officials in our country may be implicated in one of the largest, most treasonous and corrupt acts of criminality ever, as far as politically speaking goes. Probably in the history of our country. That's why they're pulling out all the stops. Let's keep playing, Jack. Let's keep playing, all you guys out there, big tech guys. This is going to be one of those, you're not going to win. This is our country. These are our rights. You're infringing upon our rights. You're taking away our right to free speech and free thought and freedom of religion, all by becoming the censors straight out of some dystopic novel like 1984. And you're trying to turn us into communist China. Because as Donald Trump Jr. wrote on Sunday, he wrote a piece basically outlining the fact that if the big tech companies are left unchecked, they're going to start putting together social media or social credit scores on us and using that against us like the communist Chinese. You guys have to understand the seriousness of what is happening here. This never was a game. It may seem like a movie, but this is very, very real. And obviously, I'm not a big fan of all this. Here we go. The New York Post, and the next one here says, suspected mob boss killer writes MAGA forever, QAnon symbol on his hand. Now, everyone on the 8chan boards was talking about this all day. And I was reading it, and they basically were breaking down what it says. We don't need this sick, twisted loser's support. This is a person who is alleged to have shot a man in cold blood. So whatever this loser writes and scribbles on his hand has absolutely nothing to do with me and nothing to do with 99.99999% of everyone else out there in the world, except this psychopath does it, and now it's a front page story. You see where we're going with this? So much effort to kill a LARP. Nothing to see here. Q. If you guys can't see what's happening here, the bigger picture of all this, what all of these things are meant to do, what all these tactics are meant to do as far as these are techniques to derail the movement. These are, and then there's the one-offs, and they take this some psycho who draws some child scribbles on his hand, and all of a sudden that's what people who look at Q are, when it's not. In the vast majority, the people who watch Q, follow Q, and follow this information are patriots who love this country, who want criminals to be held accountable and have equality of law. But again, nothing to see here. Absolutely nothing to see here. Q says, what occurred the last time the countdown was presented? And it puts this false flag in the metaphorical kill box here. It says, do you believe in coincidences? Never interfere with an enemy. And then it gives 8 dots. Ammunition is hard to come by. Q. Now, we've talked about this before. Now, what this is basically referring to, as Q has alluded to in the past, if hypothetically, theoretically, you had to change the news cycle because something hypothetically really damaging to you and your secret cabal of evil, satanic people was about to be exposed, right? Criminals, let's say. Let's just say criminals, all right? And your criminal actions were about to be uncovered. Hypothetically, theoretically, if you wanted to change the narrative, what would you do? You would make news that was bigger than your own crimes. Now that's hypothetically speaking, but that's what Q has told us. And when Q says never interfere with an enemy, that's an old saying, never interfere with an enemy while he's in the process of destroying himself. Ammunition is hard to come by. You can't do these kinds of things all the time because it's hard to pull them off. And theoretically speaking, I should say. And we're just sitting here asking questions. And this is what free speech is. I live in a country. You live in a country. If you're living here in America, sorry if you're not here with us, but there's a universal right to freedom of speech. But then there are specific outlines in our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. The First Amendment says that we have the right to free speech. And obviously these big tech companies have just taken the Constitution and said, you know what? I don't think we're going to follow this. And you know what? They're so big and powerful. They have so many lobbyists. They have so many billions of dollars, almost trillions of dollars, that nobody can do anything. They've become, some of these corporations are more powerful than countries in this world. Let that sink in. A company like Google, Alphabet, is more powerful than some countries in this world. So do you think that they have a problem with doing whatever they want? Whatever in their little fantasy land of liberal logic makes sense to them? They're the arbiters of morality, so they tell us what's moral. They're the arbiters of truth, so they tell us what's true. They're the arbiters of free speech, so they tell us what is free speech. No, absolutely not. It is intrinsic upon us as citizens of this country and citizens of the world to stand up against this tyranny that is presenting itself in the form of electronic censorship. They'll suppress us as much as we let them. And they fear us because our voices can reach the world. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not in a good mood today. I don't know. Maybe. Here's 8chan. The administration at 8chan puts out this official statement after what happened in New Zealand and all the people sharing the video on their platform, which apparently free speech is dead. You're not allowed to share anything. You're not allowed to do anything. You're not allowed to talk about anything. You're not allowed to talk. You're not even allowed to even look at a picture of what happened that day, because you know what? Apparently, the Constitution and freedom of speech just doesn't apply when it's against the narrative that's trying to be drawn. And when people are asking questions, we have the right to ask questions. But anyway, I'm gonna say I'm getting a little bit impatient with the way that people handle these situations time and time again. And you don't know why I'm really upset? Before I read this tweet, you guys probably have already read it, but I'll read it anyway for those of you listening. Because I know a lot of people like to listen and they don't watch. But I'm really upset that 50 people lost their lives. I'm really upset that the media in our country and around the world wants to use that tragedy to target free speech. I'm really upset that in today's modern society, you have people who have been brainwashed and indoctrinated to the point where they believe there is a thing called hate speech and that they have the right to censor it. It's made up. Doesn't exist. There is no such thing as hate speech. There's only free speech. There's speech you like and there's speech you don't like, but there is no such thing as hate speech. There is no category of speech that, besides screaming fire in a movie theater or inciting calls to violence, besides those specific things outlined through different rulings, there's only free speech. Whether you like that or not is irrelevant. Okay. I'm trying to calm down, guys. This is just I'm sickened by what's happening here. It says the 8chan administration is responding to law enforcement regarding the recent incident where many websites were used by a criminal to publicize his crime. We always comply with U.S. law and won't comment further on this incident so as not to disrupt the ongoing investigation. Right, okay. Who is the real intended target here? Well, if you're asking about who they're going after in the press after this, it's obvious. Just, what else do you need here? It starts. This is when it begins. They're coming for 8chan. They're coming for anonymous individuals having expressing free speech on the internet. Most of which are American citizens who are protected by free speech laws, and 8chan is obviously, it seems, a U.S. company that follows U.S. law. So, who was the real intended target? I wonder. The intended target was free speech. The intended target was they want to silence you. The dirt is going to come out against them and all of their corrupt, sick criminal enterprises, and they want to be able to shut you up. Let that sink in. These big tech companies want to shut you down. No speech, no thought, no truth besides their truth, no thought besides their thought. Does it sound familiar? Does it sound like every other authoritarian fascist dictatorship and how they took over? Because that's the goal, is power, control. They want to control you. They want to control your mind, what you think, and how you think. Down to what you read, what you watch, and what you do. And you know what? It's evil that's driving it. It's evil that's driving this. And I'm sick of it. The next one here, it says Mueller report delay. Panic in D.C. The real panic comes in the form of a last resort, plus 21, plus 2, plus 4, Q. So the way I read this is pretty simple. Just off first glance, and you guys can probably add more down in the comments, there's 21, 2, and 4. These are the countdowns that we had. It was supposed to be 21 days. Tomorrow is the 19th, which would be the end of that 21-day countdown. But I was thinking about this. What's 21 plus 2 plus 4? That's 27. So the Mueller report may not be coming till the 27th, but Q tricked these deep state morons into believing it's going to come out tomorrow, i.e., what you have in New Zealand. Theoretically, hypothetically. Does that all make sense? And then we have a list, or we have portraits, pictures of all of the officials who may have been involved with this scandal, who are the ones who we are all seeking just justice. That's all we want. If they're involved in these crimes, as has been alleged and has been shown through multiple layers of evidence, multiple fact patterns and findings, we want these people held accountable. First, James Clapper, Director of National Intelligence under Obama. Sally Yates, the Deputy Attorney General under the Obama administration. Susan Rice, the National Security Advisor for the Obama administration. These people make me sick just looking at them. Loretta Lynch, the former Attorney General. John Brennan, a.k.a. Raisin-Faced Turd Muffin, the former CIA Director under Obama. James Comey, the former Director of the FBI under Obama, and then fired by Trump. And of course, the Deputy Director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, under the Obama administration. These folks that you're looking at are the people who have been alleged to have put together one of the most corrupt and obviously criminal abuses of the law enforcement agencies of our country, weaponizing them in order to surveil a U.S. citizen who was running for president without any justification besides unverified Oppo research from the Clintons that was weaponized and fed through back channels into the FBI and the DOJ in order to be used as a predicate to go against President Trump. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I'm upset. And of course, the final post from Q here is telling us to go look at this tweet from Devin Nunes saying, listen carefully, and he will be appearing on Sean Hannity tonight, so I will be watching that as it is going on right now. So that's pretty much where we're going to wrap this up. I want to say thank you guys for watching. First of all, a few ways you can help out the channel are to go ahead, click the subscribe button. That helps out. Make sure you hit the like button. It's the thumbs up button at the bottom of this video. If you guys like this content, watch these videos and share them on your social media. And don't forget to leave your thoughts, theories, and insights down in the comments. Another way you can help financially is to come over here and find me on Patreon, patreon.com. It's a crowdfunding website. I'll leave a link in the description. When you come here, you click this button to become a patron. And you guys said it. It's a monthly donation. You said it and forget it. No, you're helping create content here. I couldn't do it without you guys. And that is the truest of all statements I could make. And also, I have a GoFundMe set up. If you want to make a one-time donation or an anonymous donation, I have that set up. So you guys can go check that out. Now, with that being said, another way you can come find me is at Just Inform You on Twitter, which is the official Just Inform Talk Twitter account, which was, like I said, just froze or suspended or whatever, and made forced to censor the content on my channel or on my feed. So obviously I must be over the target if I'm getting that kind of flack, right? And also, don't forget to go check out justinformnews.com, the official website for Just Inform Talk, where you'll have links to the Q stuff, links to different news websites, different breaking news feeds, and you'll get the actual videos from the YouTube channel here. So you guys should go check that out. Now, before we go, we do a segment at the end of each one of these episodes, which is called God's Grace is Greater, where we talk about God's grace and how it is truly greater. And for today, I want to talk about a special verse that goes directly with what we're talking about being persecuted and how to deal with that. And I know I may have sounded upset through this video, and I am, because I'm human. And when I see evil in the world, it makes me upset. And I'm not perfect, okay? And they want to go comb through everything you've ever said. At least I'm not doing some of these. I don't even want to get into justifications. All I want to say is this. When I see evil, I get upset. But I look to God to calm my heart and to give me solace. And I think we all should do that. And for that, I want to go out of read a scripture piece out of Psalm, the book of Psalm, chapter 119, verses 161 to 168. And I think this applies perfectly. It says, princes have persecuted me without cause, but my heart fears only your word. I rejoice over your promise like one who finds vast treasure. I hate and abhor falsehood, but I love your instruction. I praise you 7 times a day for your righteous judgments. Abundant peace belongs to those who love your instruction. Nothing makes them stumble. Lord, I hope for your salvation and carry out your commands. I obey your decrees and love them greatly. I obey your precepts and decrees, for all my ways are before you. And that's what I do. I put my life to God. There's so much evil, and I'm not perfect, and I never have. I mean, obviously, I never have been perfect, and all I know is that in our lives we look to God. I say, God, please make me a humble man. God, help me be a righteous man. God, help me be the man that you need in this world. And you can say those same prayers for yourself, because that's a prayer asking God to make you what he needs. And if you become the man or woman that God needs you to be in the world, I always say this, you'll become the man or woman that you need to be for your family, for your friends, for your loved ones. And we're called to stand up against persecution, and the modern princes of the world, which would be like big tech and the media people and all these people who have their high pedestals that they speak down to us from. And they speak in godless tones. And they dismiss the sacrifice made for their sins as well as ours. And they're the ones who are ultimately going to have an unfulfilled life. They're the ones who are ultimately going to suffer the consequences of their actions. They're the ones who will be ultimately judged by God when they make that transition into the next life. For us, we can only worry about what we can do, and we have to be positive, and we have to be examples, and we have to be shining lights in the world so that we can spread this good message to everyone. and remind them that not only does God love you, but God has paved the way for your eternal salvation. And that all it's being asked in return is faith, devotion, righteousness. There's nothing wrong with those things. They'll yield you more blessings, and you'll live a blessed and happy life. And it might not be easy. There might be obstacles. There might be adversities. But along the way, God will persevere, will help you persevere, as long as you keep your faith strong in His almighty ways. So that's where I'm going to leave it. I want to say thank you guys for putting up with me on this one. I know I was a little out there, but just stressful times. And I want to say thank you guys. If you haven't, come here, click the big red subscribe button. That helps out big time. And also make sure you hit the like button. Those two things help out big time. But that's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.